Hey there, hopefully you guys can hear me. If you can, welcome. I really appreciate y'all coming through. Still setting a few things up. Hopefully you guys are hearing me. We've been dealing with technical issues the whole trip, so if this is running, it's a miracle. But we will get started here probably in about 4 to 10 minutes, somewhere in there. Go grab yourself a drink, go grab yourself a snack. Let's sit down, let's get ready to chat some serious, fun Kamen Rider stuff. Some serious, fun, not so fun production talk. So, really excited to get started here today. And if you're here early, I really want to say thank you so much for being part of the channel over the last 14 years. If you've been a long-time subscriber, it means a lot, and we'll get more deep into that a little bit later. So hang in there, a few more minutes, we'll get started. Go grab some drinks, go grab a snack, come sit down and let's talk some Toku. Popping back in for just a quick second, it would really mean a lot to me if you guys can go ahead and share the stream or let other people know that we're on right now. If you're using Instagram, Twitter, you know what I mean by Twitter, or any of those other social sites, tell everybody, let's get some folks in here, let's have a real nice, fun chat. I want to try to have this be a little bit more engaging than usual, so if you guys send some other people this way, I'd be extremely appreciative. We're going to be doing a lot of polls tonight. Alrighty, let's get started. Hey, what's up, everybody? Hope you are doing well. It's been a while. It's been a while. Forgot to do our intro. Damn. All right. Well, welcome to the secondary office, or what I'm calling the secondary office out here in my buddy AG's house. So usually I'm in the room over, but we're using this room for when I'm working to keep myself focused because I'm bad. And I like to do literally anything other than the work I'm supposed to be doing half the time. But to everyone that's been in the stream early, thank you so much for coming. I really, really, really appreciate it. Again, we're going to leave this... is it over here? I don't know. The poll that's up there right now, we're going to let that roll for just a few more minutes. I want to wait till it's an uneven amount of responses in there so we can see, of the group, which of the two writer shows are the most important to you at the moment. I'm super excited to see what you guys are thinking about those because both Kamen ZEZTZ and Tanzaburo Tojima have been awesome. They've been super, super good. I've been enjoying the hell out of them. Very excited to talk about more of those a little bit more in depth. And we're going to be talking a bit more seriously about some stuff that happened with the Ninja Kids Power Rangers show. And I'll try to do my best to report that as accurately as I can. But as it is right now, we're going to have a boring background stream. Before we get too far into it, I want to show you guys something I picked up at the store the other day. They had all of these guys here for 100 yen. So about a dollar. Well, 75 cents right now. But got Den-O, got Decade, Double, Forze, Gaim, Ghost, and X8. So I'm going to try to find the rest of these. These are all really cool, and they have quotes on the back of them. And yeah, I kind of want to cover the wall in these, especially if we're going to be doing more streams here. I think it'd be a fun thing to have in the background, don't you guys? I would do like a filter or something, or have something else behind me, but it's just, there's a chance this could end up being somebody else's room in the future, so I'd have to vacate really quickly. So I don't want to, spread out across two rooms, because then I might have to pay for two rooms too. Well, nobody wants to do that, right? So, also I just think it's funny, I got Decade holding the Den-O card, and I got Den-O here, right here too. So silly. But yeah, it's been some time since we've done a stream, hasn't it? And if you can't tell, my mood has severely improved, and I'm glassesless. What happened? So let me go back a few months, right around the time that we did the I broke my back video. A couple weeks later, I was walking with the cane, and my cane broke. It went in half. I took a nasty fall, and my dope glasses saved my face. I hit the ground, glasses broke, couldn't repair them. So I've been going glassesless for a little while, but I definitely need my glasses back. It's not been completely fun. So what's going on with my back? Let's knock out the health stuff right now, and then we'll touch up on again a little bit later in the stream. So, long story short, back in America, the doctors kept saying that I had a bunch of different things wrong with me, from spondylolithiosis, that's still there, that's still a thing. Degenerative disc disease, yes, still a thing. But they were also telling me, oh, you have a piece of your vertebrae that's missing, we don't know where it went. You have a broken pars defect on your left side, and all this other stuff. My most recent doctor was like, oh yeah, and you might have a cyst on your back too from the missing vertebrae. That might be your body absorbing it, and that's going to take a specialist to do all that. And they were quoting me at $150,000 plus to get this taken care of. The doctor was trying to rush me into surgery, trying to just bypass the physical therapy and all this other stuff. And it wasn't just the one doctor, there was a couple of them. It was really frustrating, pretty frustrating. So I, after falling, was kind of like sitting there, and I was like, you know what? I don't believe them. Something else is going on here, and I need to figure out exactly what's going on. So my wife and I did some research, and we thought we were going to need a guarantor and have to go to a bunch of different meetings and paperwork stuff in order to go see a doctor out here, when in reality, there was a doctor that was more than willing to just see me, see what the deal is, and do some work for me. So let's start with, how much does it cost Dusty, with insurance in America, to get an MRI? Short answer is about $4,000. Give or take a couple $100, which, that's insane. Insane. It's insane. So, we came to Japan. The flight cost is about $650. Still not cheap, but hey, not bad. The doctor's visit was about $1,000. And that's including the medication. And at the doctor's office, we did an x-ray, a CT scan, and an MRI. And they put me in a bunch of different poses, and some of them really hurt. Oh, man. But even the process of getting checked out, I felt like they did much more for me than anybody back home. So, I'm seeing some people in chat just being like, wait, what? Yeah, I have a broken back. I've been working on a broken back for 13 years. And it's not for me trying to figure out, like, what's wrong or trying to get help. It's that everybody over the course of the last 13 years screwed me around and didn't necessarily give me the help I needed, and trying to say I had all these other issues going on, sent me to a chiropractor, and then all this other crap. So, the long and short is, the doctor looked at my 3D scanned MRI skeleton. We found the broken vertebrae bit. So let's say that this is my pelvis right here, and then this is my, so this is S1, the bottommost part of your vertebrae. Okay. Now this is L5, the one that sits on top of it. Mine's a little bit more forward than it should be, and it's not good, and it's really squishing and bulging that disc, which really, really sucks. But L4 sits on top of L5, and in between these two is the chunk of missing vertebrae. It's gone around the front of me, around to my back, and got stuck in all those pokey bits. So me bending over and sitting and standing, like the process of doing all those things has been excruciating for me. Like even sitting right here can be pretty painful, but I'm hanging in there. And the reason why it hurts is that there's a freaking chunk of bone just stuck in there. And I'm laughing about it. I'm laughing about it because the doctor was like, what cysts? There's no cyst. What are they talking about? What are they doing to you over there? So we have a game plan. And first step has been using medication to help me deal with just the pain as is right now. So currently I'm using these things called, I don't know if you can see it super well, but it says ZEZTZ, which is this stuff, ZEZTZ. It's like they call it tape, but I told the doctor that we call them patches back in the States. And it's actually the medicine that the first doctor tried to give me for my back stuff. It's called diclofenac sodium. And when I took those orally, I just felt horrible. I felt bad. I couldn't figure out what was going on. So we switched me over to gabapentin and meloxicam, which can really mess up your liver. And the thing that sucked about the gabapentin is actually a nerve agent. And my dexterity, my hands, throughout the whole Deno project were just jittery, useless messes. And I was dropping things. My dexterity was just completely shot. And I was just like, oh my god, what am I going to do? So, we started doing these patches that the doctor recommended me. They're actually 3 times the dosage that I was getting from the oral version. And because it is a dermal patch version, it's actually been affecting me way differently. And I'm able to maintain. I'm doing okay. I'm actually doing much better than I was over the last 13 years. So if you can't tell that my mood's kind of improved, it has. So, yeah, the doctor told me that we are going to do a series of 4 injections, and I'm actually getting my first one next week, where they're going to directly inject into my discs, which are those little squishy bits in between all your vertebrae. We're doing the bottom one, and we're going to be doing 4 rounds, like I said, but if it starts to take by the first or second round, showing immediate rehydration and strength build back and up in that spot, there's a really strong chance we could push the spondylolisthesis corrective surgery back 3 to 6 years. 3 to 6 years. That's great. That's great, because it also gives me time to save up some more money. But with everything that's happened so far, I have no faith or trust in trying to do it back home, because that $1,650 that I've dropped into this so far, including flight and the doctor, those 2 things, and to get the X-ray, MRI, CT scan, all this stuff, that was out of pocket. I'm not using the Japanese national insurance at all. But if I end up getting a residency or a temporary residency out here, it would put me on it and would reduce the price even more. But out of pocket currently, I'm looking at spending still close to $40,000 to $60,000. But hey, that is way, way, way cheaper than what they were expecting out of me back home. And honestly, with the amount of effort this doctor's already put in, I have more faith in that working out better than anything back home. So, if you've been following the medical journey so far and rooting me on, thank you so much. I really can't express how even like small little words have helped me get through some of this and want me to try to get better, because a lot of things in the last 13 years have been not great for me, and it's because of me being extremely irritable. And this irritation has pretty much just stemmed from the stomach stuff and my spine stuff. So let's talk about the stomach thing real quick. The whole way that we found out that my back was actually broken, not just like oh yeah, you have, after the accident. No, like it's, I went back over the last like 7-8 years, I've been getting really sick on the food back home. Anything. And we thought it was a gluten intolerance for the longest time, which there's still a possibility that I am gluten intolerant, but what I'm thinking is that there's something that we're doing to wheat or other products that specifically, whether we're using it to preserve or just to, I guess, pad out the food, whatever's going into it's making me severely ill, giving me a really hard time. And we went to a doctor who gave me a MRI, and he checked my stomach, and it turns out the reason why I've been hurting so much worse with all these stomach issues is because all that gas and bloat from my stomach doing what it's doing is also pressing up against those parts of my back that are making me lose it. So irritability has dropped. It's still there. Still trying to work past it, but it's a lot better than it has been. And now that I'm out here, I can eat almost anything. I've been eating like a champ. Like, I've been getting myself fat. And a good kind of fat, not just like fat from eating whatever. The kind of fat like where you're like, feeling better, feeling full out of eating smaller amounts of food. There's a problem I had with eating where back home I would eat, and I just would never feel satisfied, and I would always feel like hell in a few hours when I'd have to use the bathroom inevitably. And then here, you know, I can eat a sandwich from Lawson and be satisfied. And it's been a long time since I had that sensation of being satisfied while eating and not eating a shit ton of food. There is a difference between nourishing satisfaction and just filling yourself. Now I'm in the middle, just, you know, eating up as much as I can, trying to make myself feel better. And like, I feel a lot better than I usually do. And weirdly enough, my vision without the glasses, well, I still definitely want my glasses. I miss them. Like, I have everything blown up big so I can see it on the TV behind me. Since being in Japan and eating better, some of the blurriness in this eye, gone. Now, this isn't me trying to be like, oh, Japan, perfect, Japan, only place, Japan. Look, Japan, just like anywhere else in the world, is like everywhere else in the world. You're going to run into some people there that's going to scam you. There's going to be some things that will make you sick. There's a difference in culture regarding people here, where it feels like they care more about, you know, making sure the whole crowd is happy and healthy versus just, you know, making everyone pay out the nose for it. But that's kind of what happens when you have places that care more about a national healthcare system than, you know, privatized like we do back in the States. So, this is not a doctor recommendation. This is not anything like that. But what I am going to say is, if you are struggling with health stuff in the United States and you have the means to leave the States to see a doctor, I would recommend doing it. I would recommend giving it a chance, because you may be spending way less out of pocket than you would be going through your own insurances back home. Again, not a doctor. I'm not a professional. None of that. This is just what I did that worked for me. I hope it can work for you too, but I take no responsibility for anything outside of your decision to try to look. Anything past that point of you looking and you actually doing, that's on you. Sorry. That's just the way it is. But I'm not the only one that I've talked to out here that's been dealing with health stuff, and I have a friend that's a hemophiliac, and I learned, really interestingly enough, he got his residency. And then right around the same time, Japan started doing a lot of procedures for hemophiliacs for completely free. So if you're a hemophiliac and you need more health stuff, maybe come to Japan, maybe see if you can't work on that residency, and then maybe you can get that taken care of too. Super cool stuff. Really happy that it's been working out. We're not out of the woods yet. Like I said, there's still a chance that if these injections for degenerative disc disease don't take, that I'll have to probably push surgery closer than I think. But I would rather do that here and try to move forward here and try to find ways to work here so I can pay back into the national healthcare myself. Personally, I do not believe in coming here and taking advantage of their systems just to run back home. That's so unfair to all of them. So, yeah, again, thank you so much for listening to me about my little health thing here. Want to jump back in the chat real quick and see what's going on, because I saw some of you guys popping things in there. Thank you so much for the well wishes, guys. That really means a lot. And then, oh, hey, Blaze Hopper, welcome in. Hope you're doing well. All right, well, since we have a few more people here, we're going to go ahead and start talking about Kamen Rider for a little while. Do me a favor. Go over to the chat, wherever it is. I can't tell because my screen's mirrored. But go over to the chat. Go check out that poll we have going there. We're going to let it run for about 6 more minutes, and then we're going to see what you guys think and get your responses on which has been your favorite Rider show currently airing. ZEZTZ or Tanzaburo Tojima wants to be a Kamen Rider. Alright, so I want to talk briefly about ZEZTZ. We're about 7 episodes in, and I have been really enjoying it. If you guys don't know, I've kind of been out of Kamen Rider since about the middle of, what's it called? ZEZTZ? And ZEZTZ isn't bad. I ended up going back to finishing it and checking out more of it. But there was just like this feeling around Rider and my place in the community at the time where I was just like, I didn't know where I fit and didn't know how to talk about it or if I even wanted to talk about it anymore. But I saw everyone was loving it, and that's the thing that I learned, was that even if I wasn't finding my enjoyment in it, the fact that people are giving it a chance or wanting to check it out, and then it was live streamable and you know, Blu-rays came out, and it became one of these Rider shows in America where more people could check it out. Like, I was happy. I was just happy that people were checking it out. Gotchard. I love the suit. That's one of the most beautiful suits. Eitoku being the suit actor was awesome. I'm super happy for Eitoku because he's one of the best suit guys out here, and he's been through a lot to make Kamen Rider shows work. And when I say a lot, like he's put his body on the line in quite a few ways that hurt him. He busted his butt and broke his hip and had some issues. I think that was around the time of Double or O's when that went down, and was still working through it, which is like insane that he went through all this effort. But I will say this, Gotchard was one of those shows where it never clicked for me, and I tried. I wanted to give it the benefit of the doubt, but something about, I love you, cards, you're my best friend, card, I couldn't do it. And personally, with me and Rider, I'm not the biggest fan of the little buddies or gimmick items being more of the power-up in a character than the main Rider. And I hate to describe it like this, but I've never been a big Pokemon guy, and Gotchard kind of oozed the weird Pokemon side that I don't like. There's plenty of things in the show that I thought were really cool. There was a move in there where I'd actually described it to a friend that I know does the VFX out here, which, if you stole that, I'm taking that back, you son of a bitch. But it was just not one of those shows that really clicked for me, and it really bummed me out because it's hard for me to find a Kamen Rider show that I can't sit through. And that's what's weird to me. So Gav. Kamen Rider Gav came out. I checked out the first few episodes. The fact that Valen is like the only like modern actual Kamen Rider, like a modified human, Kaizo Ningen, if you will. He's cool. But Gav, just like the juxtaposition of like the candies and all these other things made me feel like, man, this shouldn't work. And I kind of fell off of it for a bit. I haven't gotten back to it yet, but I've had quite a few people come up and tell me, like, give Gav a serious chance, Dusty. Like, if you liked any of these other ones, and they named off some specific ones and some points where I'm like, all right, damn it, you're right. So, sometime soon, I will probably be doing chunks of Kamen Rider Gav, maybe 10 to 13 episode chunks at a time, do a little stream talking about it, and give it a serious chance compared to the previous 2 years. So, outside of that, it seems like Gav was pretty popular. People liked it. I'm glad that people liked it. And, yeah, I'm going to go back and give it a serious chance. But when we're talking about ZEZTZ specifically, ZEZTZ is... It felt like seeing a friend you haven't seen in a really, really long time. and it was so weird because I went in extremely skeptical. The 3G era of Kamen Rider really made me feel weird and kind of disassociated from like the fandom and all this other stuff. But the minute that ZETZ hit, it hit, and it continues to hit. It's one of these ones where I'm seeing people giving it a little bit more of a harder time, but I'm in the camp of, hey, we have to give it a more serious chance, because I feel like something or somebody has returned to the series that really understands what it takes to make one of these things a long-stay, mainstay, unforgettable Kamen Rider. And I think part of the reason behind it is this year has been filming way earlier than most of the Rider series. From what I understand, they are anywhere from 3 to 6 months ahead of us in terms of the filming schedule, which that started back with ZEZTZ. But this one specifically had an even longer time to get started and going. The action director is Jun Watanabe, I think is his last name. I know it goes by Jun. He's done stuff for Sentai and Rider, but he was Red for so many shows. If you ever seen Gokaiger, I believe he was Red in Gokai Red. He was Gokai Red in Gokaiger. Yeah. Anyways, Jun's action's great, and the show's oozing it. And on top of that, too, the visual effects. I know a few of the visual effects guys that work on Kamen Rider, and one of them I've been desperate to see, and anytime he's actually available at the place he hangs out, I haven't been able to catch up with him, but I'm hoping to catch up with him soon. But hey, Kay, you know who you are, Kay. The show's visual effects are awesome. Oh my god. And here's the other thing about what I've learned about the VFX is that they still only have a few weeks to get the next one done, get the next one done, get the next one done. So, it's one of these series where it's like you can tell all the ingredients are there. Something is brewing, and it's good. There's a bit of mystery that I feel like just Rider's been kind of like missing for a while, and not just mystery, but the fun and the image of what Rider is. There's still a few things about it that bother me. I do want there to feel like there are more Kamen Riders out there, and what I mean by that is like something that harkens back to the originals in more than just visual homage. And ZETZ, I don't feel like is completely hitting that just yet, but in terms of like the visual side, it's hitting. It's hitting. It's been great. I'm on it. So, yeah, I've been really, really enjoying ZETZ. The most recent episode with our first twist reveal has been exciting as hell, because usually when Kamen Rider does twists every 7 to 13 episodes, we have a writer that is just on top of it and knows what they're doing, knows what they're aiming for, and it's going. Oh, over in the chat, we got Mega. Thank you for the $2, man. I appreciate it. I just did it, so one more time, I guess. I'm on it. Yeah, ZETZ has been fun. Really enjoying ZETZ. I think it's shaping up to be a Rider series where if this is people's first Kamen Rider and they don't necessarily look backwards yet, but this is the first one they're really giving a chance and getting attached to, at the moment I feel like this is a great one to start with. It's hitting all those same kind of buttons that 01 did pretty early on, where they're kind of like getting you excited but easing new people into it. But this one feels more like your older brother's Kamen Rider so far. And I don't mean like, you know, an Amazon's or a Black Sun. No, I mean like one where Kamen Rider kind of does this thing where there's a new, kind of more funny, silly one to keep the lightheartedness, and then they go a little bit edge pushy on the next one, and then the one right after that, or the one after that one, ends up being like okay, we're done experimenting, we've tried a bunch of stuff, here's everything we've learned in the last few years, boom. This is what we call a tentpole Kamen Rider series. And ZETZ is very much feeling like that. Code 7, cool character. Baku, lots of fun so far, but enjoying him in his dreams and also in the real world. My favorite thing so far was him being like, I know English really well in my dreams, but I don't speak it really good in the real world at all, and I don't really understand it. Like, that made me laugh pretty hard. I thought that was a fun little thing. And the amount of English in the show has been really, really exciting, but it makes me feel like this is definitely a nod towards, you know, the Western fans that have been promoting and pushing for it, especially in the last 7 years. So, if anybody from the show sees this as working on it or anything like that, thank you so much. Or even our friends over at Shout Factory and Tokushoutsu. Like, you guys, I can't express how wonderful it's been seeing these things in a way to where we aren't pirating anymore. These are shows that, to me, have always felt like they deserve as much help and promotion as they can get. whether it be through us buying toys or DVDs or, you know, coming up to Japan and checking out places and doing stuff. So the fact that we can get Rider at the same time it airs in Japan now, mind blown. Super happy. The only thing that does kind of hurt is the era of going for the fan subs is kind of gone. Bums me out, but it's not like oh man, I can't keep stealing. No. Very far from it. What I mean is, back in the day, it was like you had to do so many different things, different steps to get it, and then you would find other like-minded people that went through these steps to watch all this stuff, and now it's accessible in a way to where you don't have to do all that hard work, and more people that these shows are aimed at will finally see these shows without having to put in that work, but still be able to be a part of it, fall in love with them themselves, and have it be something that I hope they take into themselves as much as me and some other people have. Rider is one of these superhero shows where it means a lot to me. It means more to me than I think I've ever really explained, or even in that last video, because I made a video a while ago talking about why Kamen Rider is important to me, and that really feels like just part one of the series. There's so much more to it than just what I put in that video. Highly recommend you go check it out after the stream. Don't leave now, I need you here. But yeah, it's one of these shows where, or superheroes specifically, where I don't look at them much different than Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Iron Man, all of those guys. Like if you put up a big mural of them, Rider's up there for me too. And if he's not there in your world, that just means that you're not checking out what all is available out there. And I'm very adamant in saying this, and I really strongly mean it. You got your DCs and you got your Marvels. We got our Tokusatsu stuff. Just across the board, those guys. And I don't know why we don't see Ultraman, Rider, and some of these other superheroes in the same kind of like space. And the only way I could see it as not being in the same space is just purely that, you know, Western comics versus Western or Japanese television. Rider has manga too. There's still some running that like I don't think any of us know about. There's some that are like really goofy and just like for the kids magazines, but Rider's been expanding to more than just Tokusatsu, and I think it's because they're finally recognizing, damn, this is a brand that people do love and they want to see more of. So the fact that we've had Futo Tante or Futo PI has been great. I love that stuff. Directed Kamashima. He's a really cool dude. Got to hang out with him and the other producer over at Anime Expo. Then we have the Kuga manga by Toshiki Inoue, which is a different version of Kuga, but hey, it's the only version of Kuga I know about that's given us our Kuga and Agito crossover, finally. It ain't perfect, but there's things about it I like. I don't know if have I shown this on stream yet? It's my first tattoo, and people seem to like it. So, and I got another one too, so let me show you. Yay. We're gonna fill these guys on. I'm gonna put the Legend 7 on here, and we're gonna fill out this arm like a sleeve of all the Showa guys, and maybe a couple other Ishinomori characters and stuff like that in there. But yeah, we're in a really good time for Kamen Rider, and it's crazy to think that it's arguably better than some of the times we've had before. The last time I felt like this warmth and excitement was back in 2023 with Shin Kamen Rider, but only with Shin Kamen Rider. Speaking about Shin Kamen Rider, Akeiji. Akeiji is the artist for Shin Masked Rider Shocker Side, the manga for that, which just wrapped up. Please go check that out if you can. I'm going to go try to find the rest of the volumes because I'm missing the last few, but I'm hoping to run into him sometime soon. So we could talk, hang out, and I'm going to ask him really nicely if he could design me a tattoo for my back, because his art is some of the best. Shocker Side, like especially if you love Shin Kamen Rider, Shocker Side is like a prequel, and it goes through Shin Kamen Rider, and the artistry in it is amazing. I think Akeiji is one of the best out there, and I highly recommend y'all go check out Shin Kamen Rider Shocker Side if you can. That, and then Kamen Rider Spirits. Kamen Rider Spirits is still rolling. They just had a new issue drop the other day, so I was running through the Lawson in a rush to get to the train, and in the corner of my eye, there's Ichigo and Z-Cross, and I'm like, give me book. And I went and started flipping through it, and I realized, oh my god, they're catching up through the Z-Cross special now, and they're adding new details into the Z-Cross special. So, like, if you like the Z-Cross movie or TV show that came out, that one hour-long movie thing they did for Kamen Rider, they're finally getting into that, which makes me believe that Spirits is about to wrap up. It bums me out. But Spirits is really good, and I'm hoping that with the success of Futopi and also Tanjiro Tojima wants to be a Kamen Rider, that we may one day see Kamen Rider Spirits. We'll talk more about Spirits in a minute. So, I'm going to jump over to chat real quick. We're going to end this poll and take a quick look because we've been letting it run a little bit long. So we're closing the poll, and our results are... The results are... ZEZTZ. ZEZTZ is the one that most people are excited about right now, which that makes sense. Tojima's a little bit harder to access right now, considering it's not on YouTube, and it is a little bit more of the kids' show than Tanzaburo Tojima is. But if you guys know anything about me or the channel, we actually have a motion comic for Tanjaburo Tojima Wants to Be a Kamen Rider. So if you haven't checked it out yet, go check out the motion comic. If you end up liking the motion comic, go watch the TV show. We are 3 episodes in so far. We're pretty far into the show. We're almost like 2 or 3 volumes in already, which is nuts to me. But, yeah, like Tanjiro Tojima Wants to Be a Kamen Rider has been extremely, extremely funny. The art style in the manga is a little bit weird, so if you're complaining about the anime's art style, you haven't seen nothing yet. But Tojima has been fun for me and a lot of the older fans, and there's some things I think people don't quite understand about it, is that it's been directly marketed more so towards the older fans of Kamen Rider. And I'll just say this as nicely as possible. We have some uncles out here in Japan that are a little bit more on the if they ain't got boobies, they ain't paying attention side of the world, and it's kind of weird. But I think Tojima draws that fine line of stupid fan service to get people's attention, legitimate love and affection for the show, and a story that I think harkens back to what people really, really want to see. So, getting to see that was pretty cool. On the results, it looks like 67% of you prefer ZEZTZ currently, and that's fine. That's totally cool. With the other 33% being fans of Tanjiro Tojima Wants to Be a Kamen Rider. Tanzaburo is cool. I've been really, really enjoying it. The tackle episodes, I was so excited for you all to see that. I wanted to animate that myself, but I was so worried that because of some of the imagery, it would get knocked off of YouTube almost immediately. And that's part of the reason why we haven't had a new version of Tales of the Kamen Rider motion comics that I've been doing. So I'm hoping to bring those back soon. I'm going to probably either do... it's either going to be Shocker Side, or it's going to be a specific part of Kamen Rider Spirits. So I'll think about that. We'll see how that goes, but Tojima, I had a feeling from the get-go there were going to be people that really had issues, especially with how Tackle is portrayed in this, but I'm also in the camp that I've read the book as best I can, and there's more to Yuriko than people are giving her credit. And yes, while this is a series made by a man, there's a lot of thought that went into it, and there's a lot of interviews with him and his discussion of why he made her look the way that she looked. And the same response that he gave everybody else is the same response I'm going to give to very many of you, which is, give her time to shine. If you can't see past her boobs, you might need to ask yourself what more is wrong with you. And when he said that in the interview, he got so much flack. But then as the series continued, more and more people started to understand, like, oh, no. She's cool. She's hella cool, and she isn't here just for all of us. And that's what I'm hoping the series starts to string onto a little bit harder here pretty soon. So if the fan servicey stuff has been bothering you, don't worry, it bothers a lot of us too. But it's there by design, specifically for the show. Just hang in there. Just trust Dusty here. Hang in there. I promise you, there's going to be more about Yuriko you're going to learn soon that's going to make you go, oh God. So, in a weird way, I remember the creator saying, like, she's kind of a way to combat some of that discussion. So, but, I mean, that's the other thing, too. There's some people that are sitting there that are angry, like, why is she so, like, why does she move so much? Why do they move so much? And it's okay. I know some of you guys might never have experienced a boob yourself, but boobs move. What the fuck am I saying? Alright, we're going to drop that. But anyways, what I'm saying is right now I'm really loving both ZEZTZ and Tanzaburo. Tojima wants to be a Kamen Rider a ton. They are super, super fun. And if you aren't checking out either or the other one, please go check them out. Go form an opinion for yourself. Don't let somebody just sit there and tell you if it's good or not. Watch the thing, absorb it. Try to understand what it means to you outside of just the visuals. What do these stories mean? What are the impact? And why does this matter to watch? And why I think it matters to watch is that Tanjiburo is a great example of love for something so much that you're willing to bring it into your life and live by it in a way. So please continue to check out Tanzaburo. Tojima wants to be a Kamen Rider. The people that make it are really solid people, and some of them are friends. So again, it would really mean a lot if you gave that show specifically, an actual chance instead of just looking at the discourse. Sometimes discourse causes people to avoid things like the plague or have a misconception of something before they've really given it a chance. And that's actually something we're going to be getting into something with tonight's main topic. So again, please watch things, make your own opinion before just absorbing somebody else's. It helps you be able to challenge yourself, your own views, and then other people's views. Not in a way that's like challenging, like, I'm going to beat you up for it, but more in the, yeah, but why are you looking at it like that? Why can't you look at it like this? I think it forms healthy discussion when people actually give things chances. So, we're going to jump into the chat real quick. We're going to answer some questions because I see some people asking things over here, and I just now noticed how this thing's been flying. So, please give me a moment to catch up and see what you guys have been saying, okay? Okay, Vram is getting a what if special. Oh, he's the Flan guy from Gap, right? I'll have to look into that one. Toy Tokusatsu Club specials. How do we feel about Toy putting more Toy Tokusatsu fan club specials in recent years? Great, actually. I'm really happy they're doing more because I have a feeling there's going to be a future where Tokusatsu and Toy Tokusatsu fan club may partner or become buddies more than before, and maybe even be able to give us access to even more stuff than before. Or Toei could be do something really scuzzy, which is just like, oh hey, well we translated everything and we don't need you guys anymore, so it's open, we just need your American credit cards now. I'm actually trying to get an account here pretty soon because I've been challenging myself to watch some older shows and listen. My listening skills in Japanese are really dog shit. I'm trying to get better about it. I feel like I have. But listening, I've learned, has taught me more than just sitting in front of a book. So hopefully we can get some more of that skill in there so I can be actually Nihongo Jozu instead of people telling me I am. All right, let's see what else we got going in here. Make sure I got everything. Love Gotchard, but felt like it was just throwing shit at the wall. Yes, that's something I was worried about too. It felt like an experimental series, and sometimes those really hit, and sometimes they really don't. And I think that's why it just never really hit with me. I agree, I don't like the little buddies at all. Okay, what else we got in here? ZEZTZ is cool, kind of confusing, not gonna lie, but I like the characters and the gimmick and the action. Yeah, ZEZTZ is a little bit strange, but that's what I'm enjoying about it, is that we've already gotten twists, and we're not even halfway through the what we consider a season out here, which is about 12 to 13 episodes. So the fact that we have a mid-season twist so far, yeah, that's pretty cool. I got a feeling that ZEZTZ is going to, like I said earlier, going to be one of those tentpole Kamen Rider series. Let's see what else. Gav had to, on the field, figure out his powers and his forms. I like that. I like seeing writers that had to figure things out as they're going. But I will admit, I kind of do miss the era of the writer that was kind of been there for a little while, and only then did his story start. Kind of like, well, like, I don't know if I say that. That's technically a spoiler. Go watch Kamen Rider Kabuto. It's very cool. I like Kabuto. More specifically Kagami, but yeah, if you watch the show, you'll understand why. Okay. The live streams have been getting very good numbers. Yes, they have. They've been getting great numbers, and anything over 50 viewers congruently on YouTube gets attention from YouTube. It just does, and it's been rather exciting to see that happen. But the fact that we're getting as many as we do right when the stream starts, and then consistently through the day, a really solid number of people watching. And then we even have some people that have been jumping in, doing super chats and all those other things, which I don't know if that's going to Shout Factory or if it's going to go back to Toei. But all I do know is that if it's showing that we're here and we want to watch it and it can be lucrative for them, it can only mean that we're going to get more in the future. So again, guys, please continue to support Tokusatsu as they live stream Kamen Rider as it drops in Japan. at the same time here in the States. Well, not here in the States. I'm in Japan. So watch Kamen Rider when it airs, damn it. All right, let's get some more of these questions down real quick. Oh, I did scroll up too far. Okay. Grasshoppers don't get a toy tokusatsu special. I see how it goes. Give it time. Give it time. Maybe we'll see Ichigo and Nigo do something in the future. Oh, my hair's in my eye. What is that? Okay. Ultraman is expanding to the Marvel Universe. Batman has a tokusatsu-themed comic. And for Sentai, we have Ninja Kid. We'll get to that very soon. Holy crap. You should do a team-up with Zio Agito. He has an Agito tattoo. That'd be pretty cool. Let's see. Sentai is the last one to have some sort of representation in America. Power Rangers grip is just too strong. And again, we will be getting on to Sentai and Power Rangers discussion here very, very soon. I'm just trying to crank through this chat real quick and make sure I get stuff. Yeah, Z-Crass's actor, who comes back for every special, is looking pissed. Well, it's great because his actor was always so bummed he never really got to be Rider for more than just that one thing. So any chance he gets to come back, he does. He also was, he played Z-Cross and also Jigoku Taishi, or General Darkness? Yeah, I think that's his name. The cousin one that worked for Bad End. He got to be the bad guy and the good guy in Heisei versus Showa, which was pretty cool. I like that he gets to keep coming back. I do love her big yitties though, and it makes me feel seen as a big yitty haver and enjoyer. Justice for tackle. Yes. We're gonna get people angry with that one, good lord. Okay, Megadon has a question. Are you surprised by the level of budget animation quality that Tanzaburo Tojima has been getting? They rotoscoped the opening. Someone has been putting a lot of money into this. Yes. Okay. So I've been following the... Here, let's see if I can pull it up over here real quick so I can name the gentleman specifically, because he and I have actually been talking on Twitter. Yes, that website. Let me explain myself before I go any further with that. Dusty, why are you still using that god-awful website? Yes, I agree, it is a god-awful website, and I shouldn't be using it. However, Japan really likes it. It's still like their number one social media out here, and my Japanese connections through that website keep getting stronger and stronger every year. And I'm not kidding when I say that. I got folks on there following me that talk to me and message me all the time that work here, work on these things, and now I'm building a bit of a reputation for them. And while my Japanese is still very limited, the things I use to communicate here, it's like charades, jonets, or passion, and whatever I've learned through watching these shows and doing some, basic Japanese back in middle school. Am I trying to take Japanese language more seriously going forward? Yes, I definitely need to in order for me to do some of the things I want to do. But as it is right now, even though my Japanese is limited, and all these people that I've been talking to through Twitter, they've been able to more accurately understand where I'm coming from on things and see that, oh, you're not just a fan of this stuff. You're a major supporter of it. You love this stuff. You want to share it with everybody. It's not an ego thing. It's you love this and want other people to love it the same way that you do too. And ever since that's kind of been communicated between me to some of these other people and then people that they know, I've had some wonderful opportunities. Most recently, we got to hang out with our friend Shocker Ono. Yes, that's his name, Shocker Ono. He's a MC out here in Japan. If you've ever seen the Super Sentai Spirits videos, he's the guy that has the bandana and he's running up on stage announcing who's coming on out. And he just celebrated 45 years as an MC here in Japan, and we were able to join him and his friends at dinner, where I met a couple voice actors, and the lady that was sitting next to my wife was one of the Neo Jetmen from Jetman. And gosh, there's a few other people in there that are super, super cool that I want to name off, but some of them requested to not be named if I ever did anything talking about the event. And that's one thing I'm trying to navigate out here, is learning where's the line of what's okay to talk about, what's not okay to talk about. So really quickly, let me find the gentleman that we've been talking about for the rotoscoping stuff for Rider, because he isn't necessarily rotoscoping it. They do rotoscoping so they can get the basic shapes and lines, but everything that we've seen so far has been an edit, or not an edit, a completely redrawn version of the original shows. So the stuff we saw with Kamen Rider 1 and Hiroshi Fujioka coming back to do the voice, and then also with the Kamen Rider Stronger stuff, oh my god. They're doing wonderful, wonderful, wonderful work, and I can't be more proud of the efforts they put into making sure that these things look as good as they do. And when I was talking to, oh gosh, where are you? I've had a lot of things pop up in the last 24 hours, so I'm trying to make sure I get to, mentions would be better. There it is. His name is Junpei Takatsu. Junpei Takatsu is the guy that's doing the animation direction for Tanzaburo Tojima Wants to Be a Kamen Rider. And he's the one specifically that's been hyper-focusing on making sure that the riders look like the riders, especially on the screen when they move. So anything that involved the original Kamen Rider and then Kamen Rider Stronger and Tackle, he's the guy that handled that stuff. He's posting animation breakdowns on Twitter. His Twitter handle is at J_Taka2. J_Taka2. Please go check it out. He has great breakdowns, and we were discussing how nerve-wracking it is to try to bring Rider into anime because of these being actual suits and costumes, and how you can't necessarily convey the weight or how these things move certain ways without really putting in a lot of time and effort. And animation keeps getting stronger and better, but the beautiful thing about it is that it's all hand-drawn. Like, it's done on the computer, of course, but it's done by hand. And they're really putting in the effort to make sure that it's, one, the shape, form, style isn't lost. And two, they're adding filters and shaders on top of it to make sure it has that kind of realistic feeling. And it's been beautiful. It's been beautiful. It's been well done. And he even harkened back to Futopi and director Kamashiba and how they worked really hard to make sure that the double suits felt like double costumes in Futo Tante, Futopi, and also the Memory of Skull, or Portrait of Skull movie, which I still need to go see. And I hit up Kamashiba, and I think he's just busy right now, but I want to go sit and watch it with him really bad, like super bad. We'll get there though. All right, so Megadon, I hope that answered your question. And again, please go check him out. He's really cool. Again, his name is Junpei Takatsu. Junpei Takatsu. All right, I'm embarrassed. I admit I still have to watch episode 1 of ZEZTZ. I'm just waiting for that one moment where I can relax, sit in front of the TV, and watch with no interruptions. I know that feeling. I really do know that feeling. But the beautiful thing about ZEZTZ that makes me feel like, yo, Rider's back, is a good Kamen Rider show feels like it's over in 5 minutes. It's one of those ones where you're like watching it the whole time, and ZEZTZ's been doing that. So the minute you do have some time, or maybe, I gotta use the bathroom, honey. Pop on that VPN, go jump over to the States VPN and watch some Rider with us. It's been fun. Oh yeah, Teddy Lloyd doing the music for Tanzaburo Tojima has been awesome. Freaking awesome. I've known him from the Panty and Stocking days when that was airing, and then he came back for that, and then the next thing that he did right after that was Tanzaburo Tojima Wants to Be a Kamen Rider, and it's been great. If you like any of his other music, go check out his stuff. All the music's dropped. All the stuff that he's been involved in so far has dropped on Apple Music, iTunes, whatever it is now, Spotify, Spoofy, whatever you want to call it, Apple or YouTube Music. It's out there. Go look, Teddy Lloyd. You will find Wannabe and the other songs for Tanzaburo Tojima Wants to Be a Kamen Rider. That takoyaki at the ending of Tojima, I like that character a lot. I like that little guy. If there's a little guy in Kamen Rider I want to point at and be like, that's my little guy. I love him. It's a little takoyaki. I actually don't like takoyaki. I've tried. It kind of bums me out because I wanted to enjoy it. And like the first initial bite was like, oh yeah. And then you actually get to the octopus parts and I'm like, what the fuck am I eating? I can see the appeal. But I always have to ask for taco-less takoyaki. So I guess I'm just asking for yaki balls? Yakitama? Anyways, moving along. Let's see what else is going on. I've been waiting for 101 years maybe. I've touched and had forgotten splitting to 1,000 hoppers. Long story. Oh, is that Metal Cluster Hopper? I'm trying to make sure I understood what you meant there. Okay. What is going on with this chat? Okay, cool. We're all caught up. Looks like we're all caught up. So, let's get into the meat and potatoes of tonight's chat, because yesterday I got heated, super heated, and I'm not necessarily happy with some of the stuff that's been going on for Power Rangers. Oh, whoa, Dusty's upset about Power Rangers? Is it a Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, any of those days? Is it a day that ends in day? Dusty must be upset about Power Rangers somehow. All right, look. Me and Power Rangers have a really strange and bizarre history, and I think the reason why we have a strange and bizarre history is that even as a kid, I had Super Sentai. My folks used to get me tapes from the Asian video store right next to the Asian market that we used to grocery shop at sometimes. And yeah, anytime they found something that even looked like one of those things, I would watch it. I had a version of the Kamen Rider Black movie on tape that I watched so much that eventually the tape just ripped. And they would just be like, "You want to watch Bugman?" I'd be like, "Uh-huh." So, I had exposure to tokusatsu before Power Rangers, but the reason that we got those was because I was watching Power Rangers. And I liked Rangers. I thought it was a good show, but I've come to learn that Saban, let's remove him as a name on top of Power Rangers. Let's just talk about him as a person. From what I understand, he's kind of a piece of shit. And there's going to be other people that when they hear that are going to be like, "Whoa, what the hell? That's not what I know about this guy." This is all I'm going to say about him. And then we're going to move on to actually talking about more of my issue with Power Rangers. And why I'm more adamantly trying to push tokusatsu and the Japanese side of it, and why I think the Japanese side deserves more attention. Saban made a lot of money off of kids and parents during Power Rangers. He still makes money on it. The thing that bothers me more than anything else is that through the actions he's taken, he's stifled any chance for Sentai to be able to escape Japan outside of using the name Power Rangers, which is like, what the hell? But more specifically, look at who Saban supports. And what I mean by supports is not just who he says are his friends or who he, financially supports, but more specifically who he donates to. What groups he donates to. And there's two major groups that he donates to. One of them is an American politician where I don't really necessarily feel that them in particular are much different than Trump. Different coat of paint, but still, tyrants. Not getting into it. Not getting into it because it's not what we're trying to talk about here today. But the other group he donates to is a group that's known for... It's a form of defensing... How do I say this so it doesn't come off exactly what it is, so you guys have to think about it a little bit, but then when you guys do the thinking, you'll actually go do the research yourself after the stream's done, so you can maybe go learn yourself. There's a defense force somewhere, and it's not Japan's, and he's dumped almost the same amount of money he's dumped into this American group I don't like, into them. And does it pretty annually, and I'm not talking like, 5 figures or 6 figures. It's 7 figures, frequently. And once you know and realize what he's been paying for and what he used our childhood enjoyment for, and the things our parents paid into, to do to other kids, whether directly or indirectly, meaning to or not, I can't forgive him. I fucking can't. I cannot. So, while I can appreciate the man for bringing something over here, there were other men that were trying to do it too before him that eventually gave up and kind of yielded and kind of were like, you try. And, God damn it, there isn't a day that goes by where I don't wish it was those first two guys and not Saban. So I'm going to leave it at that specifically. But let's talk about what's happening to Power Rangers currently, which is it's kind of... It's like being a zombie. It's like a husk. It keeps getting thrown to a bunch of different people. And right now... it seems the license has been shared with Ninja Kids. What's Ninja Kids? Good question, because I barely knew before any of this too. But from what I understand is it's a, I think it's a YouTube production. I'm gonna find out. It's the thing that's given to me is more like what's happening with Power Rangers and how it gets used more frequently, and how it seems like we just cannot let Zoo Ranger die at all. We cannot let MMPR go. Here, I'm jumping on the wiki. Okay. That is not the Ninja Kids that I think it is. That is the Takashi Miike movie. I'm wrong. That's the wrong one. Oh my god. Ninja Kids TV. That's what it is. Alright. My search history is going to be ruined after this. But essentially, from what I understand, it's like a... I'm doing really good. This is why I'm a professional reporter. Oh my goodness. Okay, here we go. The This is the weakest thing I've ever seen in my life. Oh my god. Hold on, guys. Give me 2 seconds. I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties on side of this, too. Okay, so it's a show that's been going on since 2017, so about 9 years now. And it's a YouTube channel with 24.1 million subscribers. So it's a YouTube production. Okay. So you could tell I really don't have much idea about what it is, but what I do know is that they got to do something with the rights for Power Rangers and to put, their YouTube channel alongside, Power Rangers, and it looks like it's not a fan film thing, but something actually integrated in between the two. And that's cool. Thanks to the Power Rangers thing, I know who these guys are now. That's pretty cool. But the problem I'm having is that it seems like Power Rangers, or anything kind of Sentai-esque here in, not here, I'm in Japan, but over in the West, in America, Canada, Mexico, UK, all those areas, whenever they get a hold of these things, it doesn't seem to have the same kind of style or care put into it that some of the productions here do. And that's not me saying that we don't have some stinkers out here in Japan. It happens. It totally happens. It's just more of like weird decisions from story to AI generated crap, which is what we're going to get more into recently, or pretty soon. And while I'm okay with them using Power Rangers, I'm still in the camp of, man, we should be doing our own stuff. I felt like Cosmic Fury was a really, really good step in the right direction for this. But a lot of this is besides the major point of what I'm trying to talk about. What I'm going to say first to preface this is I do not have necessarily ill will towards any of the actors or stunt performers on this show. I have more of a beef with whoever produced the most recent thing, being this Power Rangers thing. So let's talk about the most important person in this whole situation, because they're the one getting hurt the most, in my opinion. And I don't mean the Ninja Kids people. I'm talking about Toku J. And if you guys don't know Toku J, go look him up. Go Google him. You can Google Toku J and you'll see what I'm talking about. Jay is a fantastic 3D digital artist that has been putting together recreated or reimagined versions of the Power Rangers where you don't lose the overall aesthetic of them, but only add to them. So instead of the spandex, it's more like, like a power suit. The Marvel kind of costumes, how like Daredevil, for example, or even ZEZTZ. Look at ZEZTZ, how those are like a little bit more stylized texture, shape to the form, Jay has done a fantastic job doing that across the board with everything he's done. Jay is one of the guys where in the community, if there was anybody I would want to work with in terms of doing like art stuff, it would be Jay. Jay does good stuff. Jay's a great artist. That is bar none, flat. That's it. Jay's a great artist. And Jay got picked up by the Ninja Kids to do to use his costume designs that he did for the Mighty Morphin suits, which I do really like them a lot. My only gripe that I have with Jay's work is he's got a beef with the lips on Sentai helmets. Okay, that's fine. It's whatever, but he puts mouthpieces on things, and they look cool. They look good, and I do appreciate when he does do the mouth plates on his stuff, because it's at this point to me almost like a signature to tell, like, oh, Jay did this one, because they usually have mouths. So, yeah, Jay got selected. They used his designs and made costumes for this Ninja Kids production. It looked great. The suits look amazing. It really looks like his digital art that he did walked right off into a physical costume. And I could not have been happier when hearing this. So it got me even excited enough to go check out Ninja Kids, just enough to be like, okay, so this is the kind of stuff they do. What are we going to see them do with this Power Rangers thing in the long run? And we got set photos. We had, people that worked on the production talking about how much fun they had doing it and all this really cool stuff. And then most recently we had a trailer drop where it's hard to look at it at any other way than they fed this art and the physical costumes into AI to generate visual effects. I can't speak for every single effect done, but there's one in particular I saw where I'm like, yo, what the fuck? This is not acceptable. And I'll get to my explanation why I feel like it's as unacceptable soon. But the thing that I saw, and I'll even give you guys one better. I'll tell you what I would have done as a director or producer asking for this shot just in particular. They have this Goldar costume for the production, and it's cool. It's a really cool Goldar costume. From what I understand, the mouth on it does move, but it could have been a technical issue or any of those other things. Who knows? I wasn't on set. But what I do know is there's a scene of Goldar kind of like walking and talking, and he's missing his tendrils, he's missing the thing on his chin, parts of the spikes on the top of his helmet are missing, and it just looks like rubber and super unnatural. To the untrained eye, you would probably think like, oh, that's just some bad CG. But when you've seen enough AI-generated stuff, you can start to tell that, okay, yeah, no, this was thrown, this picture of this thing, or this part of the video was dropped into an AI to animate this character's mouth. That sucks. And inherently, to me, it defeats the purpose of tokusatsu, or low-budget special effects films. In my eyes, cheap isn't necessarily what something can look at by the end of it, or feel like at the end of it. Like, you can make something feel cheap in the long run, but what makes it feel cheap is cutting corners. And to me, the biggest cutting corner tool out there right now is AI. If they had this low budget and not the Disney money like they said in a couple comments that popped up, I would have sat there and spent the time to try to find a way to work around it, or to work with my visual effects team to change how we would do things. So this Goldar scene, right? The way I probably would have handled it, just to ensure that there wasn't any kind of meddling like that, and ultimately probably would have just taken a little bit more time filming that day, but overall would have been way easier to throw at an early beginner visual effects artist. Have the actor there, put them in a green hood, or a blue hood, or some kind of colored hood where their face is mostly covered, but they have the Goldar armor on, okay? Have them walk and talk and do the scene. Cool. Next, get your... there's like this orb that they use in visual effects, and that's used to help you figure out the lighting of the area. Drop one of those guys up there, right next to a Goldar mask. Put your hand inside the mouth, make the mouth move. I know it sounds silly, but then also try to film it at the same angle. And before you do any of this, you have to get a plate of where you guys are walking. Do that first, get the blank plate, then have the actor do the walk without the mask on, then take the ball, have that up there, get the idea of what the lighting is, then pull that down, put the Goldar mask in there, move the mouth with your own goddamn hand. Take all that footage, throw it at your VFX guy. He can rotoscope out or even remove just the hand, be able to place it into a good motion track to where you wouldn't even be able to tell, because you would be more focused on the fact that, oh my god, here's Goldar walking by and he's talking. And the little bit of the rubbery mask mouth bouncing and moving would look way better than like this almost plasticine clay kind of mush that we ended up getting. You wouldn't have lost any of the visuals of it, and that's it. Now, let's take a step back from what I just said. Okay? Let's be real. Let's be honest. On these productions, 9 times out of 10, it's just get it done. They'll fix it in post, and people who wouldn't dare to consider doing such a cheap move for time. But you have a low budget, so why would you be wasting your time with such a low budget to dump it into something like I don't know. I don't know. It feels creatively corrupt in my mind. And this is just, a kid's thing, right? And that's the number one problem with half of these people producing these shows. It's just some kid's thing. Only you would notice that. And when they turn that around, right, yeah, only somebody else would notice that. Kids probably won't notice it. Kids probably won't care. And, yeah, that's the intended audience, not me. And that's fine. But when it comes down to it is, we have consistently, across the board, when it comes to Westerners doing tokusatsu-like productions, more often than not, the Japanese side of it has to step in to fix things. I mean, for God's sake, the only reason why I think Power Rangers worked as well as it did, outside of, the Sentai footage and then kids blowing up because of the toys and stuff like that, was people like Koichi Sakamoto behind the camera and on the crew. And, the stunt actors, like the folks from Japan that know this stuff, have a decent idea of it, have been doing it for as many years as they had, brought over what they knew, and then over the years, as those people kept getting pulled away from those projects, things kept dipping and falling down and kind of falling apart for these shows. And it's because we we tend to have people who are embarrassed to be working on kids' productions, or they feel like it's easy and they can cut the corners and these kids won't notice, they won't care. And when you make a production for kids' TV, and the minute you feel like kids don't care, kids don't notice, you are underestimating the intelligence of children. Kids aren't stupid. Some kids are stupid. Sorry. But what I mean by this is that, like, in a way, it's kind of like talking down to somebody, regardless of their age. And when you're kind of trying to dumb down and talk down, you build an air around what this thing is to where it's only stupid, only for kids, only for stupid kids, and all that bullshit talk. Bluntly, in my mind, tokusatsu and this style of special effects filming is an art form. It's an art form. You can't look at it as anything other than that and a kid's show. Those are the two things they are. It's an art form, and it's an art form used to make a kid's show. But in my mind, too, kid shows aren't necessarily for children. I feel like they're for families. If you can make a show where Mom, Dad, Billy, and Sally can all sit there and you know, Zally with a Z, I guess. I don't know, try and be inclusive, folks. Anyways, all those people are sitting there watching it and enjoying it for different reasons, but are all there sitting for it, that means they care. You need to make something where you show that you care from behind the camera. And you will, without really trying, get those other kids in there and all these people that it's intended for to care too. There's a line that was said. Let me bring up the post real quick so I can make sure I quote this directly and also reiterate what I was saying with it. Okay, so Ethan Feinschreiber made a post earlier, and Ethan said, "Bro, I really appreciate you covering this and giving your initial reaction to it. It's bigger budget than previous episodes of Ninja Kids produced before, but yeah, it's not Disney-sized budget. That's fine. Understandable." All right, moving back to Mr. Feinschreiber's comment. "The world is absolutely moving towards using AI more with everything. I get why some people will be off-put a bit by it, but dang, guys, isn't it or shouldn't it be more about how strong the story and character development are to some degree as well? To hate on things you haven't even experienced at all is like looking at a plate of chocolate and then telling your mom you're going to hate it because it looks brown and brown foods just won't taste good. Just give it a try before judging. Thanks again for your honest reactions. Appreciate you." Okay, let's dissect this a little bit, okay? I agree that we shouldn't be judging books by their covers. And it's kind of like what I was saying earlier with Tanzaburo Tojima, where I'm like, hey, go form your own opinion on this, right? And again, I can agree with that sentiment specifically. But what I cannot agree about is the medium of the art being used, other artists' art that was contributed to this being used, and fed into AI. Period. That is, when it comes to him talking about AI and AI being used, I'm in the camp that AI is a fantastic educator. It is a great way to research and learn to do things. If you came to me and you're like, "Dustin, I made this Kamen Rider belt. I used AI." My first question is going to be, did the AI generate the model for you? And if you said yes, I'd pat you on the shoulder and be like, "Keep trying," and then very quickly get the fuck away from you. Now, if you said, "No, I asked it how to, do Blender, and then I also learned how to code through it so I could put this Arduino in there, and it taught me how to wire, but I had to do so much work, and I just used it in order to educate myself." No problem. No problem at all. You put in the work. You modeled that thing yourself. You did the coding yourself. You had to ask. Now, here's my little addendum to that. If you ask GPT to create the code for your thing and completely make the code for you without you sitting there plugging in the things yourself, testing and changing everything to make sure it actually works, that's where I'm going to be like, a little bit. But, again, if you used it to learn, to educate yourself, to find the right tools that you needed in order to build actual skills for yourself, I can forgive that AI usage in a heartbeat. I really can. And it's because you looked at it and used it like a tool, not as a crutch or an overall end-all be-all final product. The minute you're using AI as your final product or your creative final product or anything like that specifically, not as an educational tool, but I typed in and I made my own Power Ranger series and now I have 42 episodes. Here you go. I'm Saban now. Like, fuck off. Fuck off. Find a bridge, jump off of it, and do a flip while you're at it. God damn it. Excuse me. Sorry, I don't mean to get that heated. But this is what I said in response to Mr. Feinschreiber's post. Dang, guys, I agree we shouldn't judge stories by their covers, but we can judge whoever produced if the cover is slathered in AI art. No matter how you look at it, inevitably fed AI to the art to generate that picture. That's what they did. Hire artists, embrace your lower budget, do the work, gosh darn it. And what I mean by doing the work is, like I said earlier, let's go back to that little Goldar discussion I had briefly there, where they just easily dropped into AI, so then they can have it animated and stuff like that. Meanwhile, I gave you a practical effect version of it, where once you're done with getting that footage, well, yeah, it might take you another hour or two to film that, and, you know, time is money, I get that. You could be spending a small amount of money on the visual effects guy who just needs to do that one shot of take Goldar's face that's been animated with somebody's hand behind the mask, put it over the green screen actor's face, motion track it across. I hate to say it. The thing I said, that move is amateur fucking film 101 for visual effects. It's simple. It's easier to do, and I feel like it takes more human effort to do that than it would be to, okay, drop this in, prompt, make them talk. The reason why half these shows out here in Japan have lasted as long as they have is when they had the lower budgets, they worked with it. They found a way to work with it. And I'm sorry, you lose integrity as filmmakers, as a producer, when you want to find just the shortcuts. Now, can you create a shortcut that doesn't involve AI? Yes, and we've seen them do it before in the past in ways where it's like, oh, that is so cheap and lame, and oh, okay, we just need to let it go, because, hey, at least they tried something, but it wasn't just like, hey, I made the computer do all of it. A great example to me of a low budget working and endearing. Let's talk about my buddy Yasuhisa Furuhara. Furuhara, if you guys don't know, is Go On Red from Go Onjer. He also has a YouTube channel. Please go check out his YouTube channel. He has videos up there right now. Unfortunately, they have AI voices in some of them. You could turn them on or turn them off. I highly recommend you guys turn on the closed captioning, because they do have somebody writing those out for them. Please go check out his videos. He's interviewing people. More recently, another one of our friends, Takeshi Sasaki, Kamen Rider 2. I'm very happy to see two people I know in the same video talking to each other. Very, very excited for that to go up. But yeah, the thing with Furuhara is, in Go On, there's quite a few scenes where they talk to the engines, or the engine souls, and they're just like the toys that have been repainted to look really, really good like the models. And it's Furuhara just kind of like bouncing. Here's my wallet. We're going to say my wallet is Speedor, right? You don't see his hand all the time. The wallet starts to move as he's talking to him. See that? All it is just my finger in the wallet, pulling it up and down. But from the side, you never see it's my finger doing it, and it looks like my wallet's talking to me. Aren't you, Wally? Yeah. See, it's stupid, but the fact that he's able to sit there, seriously do his role, puppet the thing by hand, and put his energy into it, his I would rather see puppets and dumb little things like that being done for a kid's show, because it's stupid. The kids won't care. Yeah, they won't. But I can forgive that more than if they had him standing there and they're like, here, take this 3D model we dropped in there, now animate this, and now it's just some character bouncing around in his hand, and there's no tactfulness to it, there's no actual life to it, and unless there's another visual effects director on scene to kind of direct the actor to be like, hey, we're going to have him go around your arm, so like act like he's driving up your arm, like that kind of thing I can forgive a lot more than yeah, just talk to it and we'll AI it. So like imagine, for if you would, Sosuke from Go Onjer just sitting there talking to his hands, and then Speedor comes in, and then Speedor starts to move around the screen doing a bunch of different stuff, and in him moving around the screen also shifts and changes and goes what we call off-model. What's off-model, Dusty? So for animation and for a lot of other shows and productions, they have a character Bible or character design sheet where it's like, this is what they're like all the time. And there's rules under it where they're like, hey, don't ever show them facing forward. We don't do that. Their eyes are always together this way, never apart. Like those kind of rules. I highly recommend going check out ones for like The Simpsons or Ed, Edd n Eddy. They have really great, beautiful, well written out ones where you can see what the idea was for staying on model. Just go check out any animation thing that shows you what it's like to be on model. It's the idea that to keep consistency and continuity, this is how the character must always be seen. And no matter what I've seen with AI, none of them seem to really be able to do that. And if you don't really pay attention to AI stuff, and you need to find some AI stuff. If you have a Facebook account or your grandmother has a Facebook account, go jump on there, go see what she's looking at and liking. I'm sure you'll find some videos where it's like a cat running through a fire, saving all the babies, but every single time the cat shows up, it's always a different spots on it everywhere, or it's slightly off model from the last one. And if you have, like, you know, two brain cells to rub together, you can sit there and be like, huh, it's different. But half these people barely have one to rub together, so they're like, haha, kitty and fire, safe baby. Now, I'm not going to say that Ninja Kids are, you know, the only ones that have done this. I hate to admit it. We've seen Toei do it a few times too, and that's where it gets a little bit tougher. Ninja Kids is a smaller production, and it feels like it can hold more integrity because it is a smaller production. Toei is a little bit harder to fight because this is a corporate entity, and for all we know, they might be purchasing or buying into an AI system specifically to do more stuff for them. That's out of our hands and out of our decision. The most we could say is, we don't like that. We don't want that. We want to continue to see more practical stuff. And honestly, it scares me because, like I said, I have friends that work in the visual effects for Kamen Rider. I would be fucking mortified if any of them lost their jobs over this just because it gets done faster and it's cheaper. Because what's going to end up happening is, yes, you'll be able to produce the show faster. Yes, you'll be able to produce it for cheaper. But no, you will not have any of the heart, spirit, spectacle, or any of that goes into these things to make it feel like something worth paying attention to and loving. There's a point with so many productions, but more specifically with, like, Western ones, where they miss things get lost in translation, they have to tweak things in order for it to work for, you know, our audience. Some of those things are hard to argue, really, but there's no way around saying that it's not hard to argue. We don't need to be using AI for this kind of stuff. We have a generation of people who have been working on their computers their whole damn life. People who do Blender animations on a program that's free, mind you. We have people that do Houdini, and Houdini's like it's more professional tool for simulations, but I would much rather see somebody using Houdini and their simulations for, like, water and stuff like that than just having some AI ocean slathered over something. And the other thing too that I appreciate about visual effects artists is that when they use all these different assets and tools that are created by other people, whether they're filming real explosions on a big black backdrop so that you can use those explosions anywhere, but also they film them with different multiple cameras so that you can go through and find, okay, this is at the same resolution as the resolution of the rest of the shows being filmed. If I put this into the background at that same resolution, it will feel more real than you know, oh, well, I have this dust blast, but it's a 4K dust blast, and I shot a 1080p video, and I just need the gun to look like it's firing, and then they put that in there, and it's like, there is an artistry to visual effects. And bluntly, if you're using AI for your visual effects, you're going to lose, period. You can sit there and be like, oh, the AI knows everything. I might know some stuff, but if you don't know how to really, truly write into these prompts to give it, like, the education level of what it needs in order to do this, like, hey, I need a explosion at the same resolution, but I need it to be half the size of the screen, and I need to also be able to have it filmed at a 3/4 quarter angle, and also maybe have it filmed with, like, a, let's try the 75 millimeter. Let's try that. Let's go add all that stuff in there. You have to add all this information to it. Let's be real. If you're using AI, more often than not, it's somebody that's just asking and dropping in a prompt, like, need explosion, give me explosion. Click. A few minutes later, they get their explosion. They're like, wow, explosion. Drop it in there, and it's fucking lazy. Meanwhile, we have people where, you know, for a couple $100 you can buy an explosion pack. You get hundreds of different types of explosions and many different film styles of recording it and resolutions that you could use, drop into your own visual effects work, and just with a couple hours in Adobe After Effects and knowing how to work in a 3D digital space, you can create something that would almost look like a real gas explosion in some of these areas. I'm befuddled because Power Rangers, specifically, is derived from Super Sentai. This isn't anything new. But we've also had Power Rangers for 30 years now. 30 years. That is a 30-year library shared with Sentai of stuff, including assets that we could be using to make these shows. Now, did Ninja Kids and them get the rights to use any of that stuff? I have no idea. I'm not necessarily familiar with what they did with their production outside of them using these costumes, Jay's designs, and in a way feeding it to an AI in order to animate or change them for the production just because it was cheaper. if that's your perspective on it, and you need to do something cheaper, we could maybe hire some older people that have done these things before, or fans. Speed Racer Flubber, Dante, good friend of mine. Dan, if you're seeing this, happy birthday. I hope you had a good one. He did something a little while ago when the Once and Always special came out, where they held out their morphers and they just flashed and transformed with the things around them. That was a cool effect, but Dan went out of his way to rotoscope all the characters and kind of like use the pen tool to create lines like a wireframe, kind of like how they did in the transformation sequence in Zoolander, but also in Jetman. And he posted that video along with their effect they did for the transformation for Once and Always. And his video blew up because more people recognized that, saw that, and were like, whoa! The whoa. The whoa is the spectacle. Okay? Spectacle goes way further than novelty. And unfortunately, I can't look at AI art as anything more than a novelty. I can't even consider it art. The best it can be is novelty. And sometimes novelty can be good and can be used to push art further, but it's missing the heart, humor, and spectacle. It's missing the human element. The minute you remove the human element from these kind of characters in these kind of shows, what are you making? Now, that's not me saying that, I don't want to see these characters animated in 3D or as a 2D or as a comic book. Like, look, we talked about Tanjiro Tojima wants to be a Kamen Rider, all these different manga and other anime projects for Kamen Rider, where historically I've been really nervous about them going that route. But they're doing it. They're doing the work. They're putting in the efforts. They're making the damn thing work. And what's making it work is not relying on the computer to do fucking everything. When I was a kid, I was super, super adamant against CGI. I wanted there to be more, all practical effects kind of stuff. Like, there's something really endearing about practical effects. But over the years, there have been more people that found a way to put some of their own soul into these visual effects and drop it into their projects. And after meeting some of the visual effects people from Kamen Rider and then hearing how they do their stuff and how they have somebody on set working on things that relays back to the team, like, hey, this is what we're trying, this is what we're doing, this is what they wanted, this is what they didn't want, and they're able to frame, readjust, and make things work just right for the production. It in its own way, CG has become part of the soul of what it takes to make these things. And I was foolish as a boy because, even dating back to the old days, they were still doing computer graphics, but it wasn't through the computer necessarily. They were hand animating it over the film. So, for example, this is a great example. I think you guys would like this. Ultraman Specium Beam. This thing. Shwatch. That thing, right? Have you ever noticed all those little lines blasting out of his arm when he does the blast, right? A lot of those are hand animated by one dude, or were hand animated by one guy who unfortunately passed away after Shin Ultraman. But the last thing he did was another one of those beams specifically for Shin Ultraman. So when Shin Ultraman does his first, and it goes, that was his last hand animated beam that had been laid over the film, instead of it just being, okay, I made this computer effect of the beam blasting. You could now set it any which way and direction you want to, and place it on the actor. It needs to have that human element. So, with all this being said, I'm really nervous for the future of production because with this Ninja Kids thing, I was so excited for Jay to get the opportunity to have his designs used and recreated as a full costume, and whoever made those costumes, they did a great job. They did a fantastic job. I'm really, really happy for Jay to be able to finally see his work in full 3D. And by full 3D, I mean a real-life made costume. That's amazing. I'm so happy. Really. And then seeing all these other costumes that were involved, I was like, oh man, this thing's gonna slap. This is gonna be so cool. Look at the effort they put into this. And then the minute we saw any of the transformations or the explosions or Goldar moving his mouth and all these things, it's just you rip the soul out of it just so you can quote unquote get it done or get it done cheaper. And it just feels creatively bankrupt. And it makes me feel like whoever on the production made that decision made a massive misstep. especially when you dipped into the community, our community, to find people that did stuff for your production. If you're so willing to go out of your way to go do that, why aren't you willing to also find other people who are willing to be like, wait, you want me to work on Power Rangers? Pay for my dinner, it's done, bro. Like, there are people in the community that would do that. They would be more proud of just having their name next to something Power Rangers associated in that small little thing, their portfolio, that can move them on to bigger things, and also be able to have them achieve that little dream of, guys, I worked on Power Rangers, you know? But no, it's, you gave that to a fucking computer. You gave it to a computer. And this is what I mean by these productions sucking. And this is where I'm going to toot my own horn here, because I've been desperate to direct or produce or work on something like this for a real long time. And it's been one of these things where I've been wanting to amass money and make costumes. And that's actually how I started making costumes, was I learned how expensive it is to do this stuff. So I was like, okay, I'll learn how to do it myself. Did that, realized, oh god, there's no way around that, that's expensive. But then I also started forcing myself to learn how to film things, get an understanding of how productions actually roll. And while I've been sitting here doing my studying and stuff, I've never really had the opportunity to dive into a production. But what I do know for a simple fucking fact is, I would be picking and pulling people from the community to have an opportunity to work alongside me to do something fucking amazing, versus just looking at my computer and being like, I need you to give me this. All right, cool. Look at me. I'm a professional. Professional bullshitter, maybe. And that's the problem with Western production is I feel like we have more people that want to call themselves producers or directors, but they can't produce or direct themselves out of a paper bag. And what I mean by that is they can't work with people. They don't know what it takes for all these other departments to do something. I've gone out of my way to meet writers. I've gone out of my way to meet actors. I've gone out of my way to meet directors. I've gone out of my way to meet people who do props and costumes. I've gone out of my way to meet the visual effects people. I've gone out of my fucking way to meet these people and learn, so that I can, if I ever got to touch any of these kind of productions, I would never be stepping on these people's toes. I'd be knowing what I want to go where, and I'd be knowing to treat these people with the best that I can, so they can give me back the best they can, so that all of that effort, all of that energy, all of that thought, doing the fucking work, would make this piece, this artwork that we're making for kids, something that means more to them for their life. Too frequently I see people who have gotten interested in Power Rangers and dropped off of it, jump back into it and being like, I got a chance to work on this, look at me, I'm such a big fan. And then their best idea of what it was their school time playing in the schoolyard versus researching what it takes to actually make these fucking shows. And we have a lot of really, really beyond arrogant filmmakers in the United States who look at these things and think like, I could do that. Yeah, I could do that. And yeah, you could do some of that. Yeah, you have an idea of that. But where's your heart? Where's your passion for this? Anytime I hear somebody love Power Rangers, I always want to sit there and ask them, like, okay, so when? 93, 94? How old were you at the time? Okay. The only time I've ever been really excited by anybody saying they love Power Rangers or working on something is whenever they said something outside of the Zordon era. Like, oh gosh, I can't remember this actor's name, but I remember him saying that he loved Lost Galaxy and it was one of his favorite things. And then he ended up working on a Marvel production. Oh, it's not out yet. It's upcoming, the WandaVision. One of the two boys says that he really liked Lost Galaxy. He watched it with his older brother. And he wanted to bring that kind of style of passion to his roles in this upcoming show. So, I want to say this. If anybody wants to clip this and send it around, I guess this is the best I'm going to say. It's extremely unfortunate that the decision was made to use AI to animate and create explosions when we have so many talented individuals out there. I'm sure that if they had asked the community after they got all this filming and stuff done, hey, we had a budget snag, and we want to be able to pay some people to do some more visual effects, and hired out of the community would have been way, way more accepting of that and willing to throw in and help, and people would have volunteered in a heartbeat to be a part of that, to make that bigger and more and mean something to them and also to all their friends too. Because the only thing that got me to pay attention even to this Ninja Kids thing in the first place was Toku J. And again, I said it earlier, he's one of the best damn 3D artists we have in the Toku scene. Like, really, like, holy shit, his stuff's great. I want to 3D print his character so bad. This is something I was trying to talk about doing with him too, but then this production came along. I saw his costumes made as a real thing, and I'm like, you know what? I don't need to do that for him anymore. He's got one. It's even better. It's a fucking costume. It's an actual costume, not just some stupid statue I wanted to print. And that excitement behind it got me to even pay attention to the Ninja Kids, anything that was coming out. This was something I was going to be looking at as, this is myself as an adult giving this kid show a chance. Because I know people involved with it. I knew that was going to have heart humor and the spectacle stuff. And then the minute you just took their work and dropped it into AI so that you could just, quote-unquote, get it done, all enthusiasm was lost. Because any way you look at this, with Jay's work involved with your stuff, and you guys feeding those costumes and other costumes that were there into AI in order to make these animations and effects, you have degraded their value as artists. You've degraded their art, and you've degraded your production. People care when people work because people like people. And people want to support people who are doing their damnedest to make the coolest damn thing they can. If looking at AI is enough for you to be happy, fucking watch it on your own goddamn time, and your own goddamn computer. Go play on your own home holodeck, if you will. But don't take other people's shit. And don't take a damn IP that's already been struggling and use this for lack of a better term, fucking nefarious reasons. Cheap is not the problem here. Cheap is a constraint that you have to work around, you have to think around, you have to do the work to get around. But when you do something like this, cutting corners with AI, it just makes the whole overall production cheap. And until something like this is rectified, or more people can come forward and be like, hey, we're taking some time to actually fix this, we're really sorry, we heard you, I personally can't support it. And I wanted to. I'll say that again. An adult that had no idea about any of this stuff before, other than, oh, hey, you're doing something with Power Rangers? Oh, you're working with Jay? Oh, that's super cool. And then you just drop this brick on us. Like, it takes the wind out of people's sails. And it hurts artists that are trying to work on these things, because what if somebody else gets a chance and they're excited and then the same thing happens to them? So you could sit there and say that the story is going to be great or it's going to be cool, but let's be completely honest. The story, whatever story it's going to be involving Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, bring up the dead horse's skeleton and bash it for the 800th time. Personally, I would have been more impressed with them doing something more like one of the Ninja suits or the Ninja series Power Rangers things and throwing the Power Rangers name up there and seeing if you guys could do that. But it's also the Hasbroification of Power Rangers and also just been the general issue of it forever. I'm tired of fucking Optimus Prime and Megatron on every single goddamn release from Transformers. Why is the perception that if it has Power Rangers on it, it has to be the dinosaur guys with the diamonds on their chest? Why couldn't you guys have made your own Power Rangers? For God's sakes, we just got done doing Cosmic Fury, and Cosmic Fury felt like the first time we made a step in the right direction, for once. So, I guess I'm just angry because it's like we keep continuing to get people that get these opportunities, that want to do these things, instead of people that, like, fucking care. And I don't mean, like, oh, they're a fan. No, I mean people that love this, love Power Rangers, love Super Sentai and Tokusatsu in general. The art form of creating a special effects television show. Because it is an art form. I don't know if many of you know this. Look at most Tokusatsu. Pay attention to the framing and blocking of how they do these action scenes. Holy shit, guys, it's fucking kabuki. I'm not kidding, it's kabuki. If you go... It's hard for people to find a kabuki show. But if you can have a chance to find one on YouTube, or you can see one live in person, pay attention to who the hero is. Pay attention to who the antagonist is, or the duoragonist? The good guy that might not necessarily be a good guy, but he's kind of being a bad guy to the good guy. You know what I mean? Pay attention to who they are, where they are, what they're doing in certain scenes. Hikonen Sentai Akiba Ranger does a really good job about this, explaining the left of the screen versus the right of the screen, where if the hero does something over here, and then moves over here, and then does an attack from over here to over here, 9 times out of 10, they're going to win. But if they do their attack from over here, and then do it to that way, not going to work. And this is all framing and blocking from early kabuki theater. Now, I'm not saying that you need to go through and get a doctorate in Japanese stage to understand what I'm talking about. But what I'm saying is, it'd be nice if there were people that were producing these shows or was trying to throw money at these things to find people who know and love this stuff so much that they do know these kind of things, can see forward further past the, oh damn, the budget's getting kind of low, guess I gotta give it to the computer because the computer works for free. So, he said it earlier today, and I'll promote it here too. Avalon, it's the British tokusatsu series. It's done with Tom Constantine and a couple of the other boys out here. 100% not AI generated. It's got whole, it's got heart, it's got humor and spectacle. They're putting their work into it. That's a great one to go check out. I'm really just hurt that this has been the consistent treatment for Power Rangers through Hasbro. And until we actually see people that genuinely care, and I don't mean like are paid to care or paid to pay attention to it and make it like their life's mission. Like no offense to Pookie. No offense to Pookie. None whatsoever when I say this, but I would sooner see one of you guys that went through film school, paid attention to all this stuff, really passionate about it like I am, or half of us are, and really put thought, effort, and energy into the production, because once you put thought, effort, and energy into a production like these, it shows, it shines, and it could be one of the worst stories ever, but if it still has that heart, humor, and spectacle, and can hold your attention for 22 minutes, you fucking did it. And sadly, I don't think Power Rangers has really done anything like that in years. And I'm okay with Power Rangers going at this point, because look. We have Kamen Rider airing in the States as it airs. We have anime with more Rider stuff and more tokusatsu things that are getting people who would never watch live-action Japan anything ever going to check out Showa Kamen Rider. Like, I've seen dudes who have been long-time anime fans that I have been trying to get them to watch anything tokusatsu for the longest time. Like, even some of the newer shows, just to be like, oh, trust me, you'd like it. It's like live-action anime almost. And they'd be like, whatever. And then they watch Samurai Flamenco, and they're like, okay, that's kind of cool, whatever. And then they start to check out the shows, and they're like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, no, I'm starting to get it. And then Tanzaburo comes around, they're like, Dustin, what's this Kamen Rider thing you were telling me about? And I know where it's coming from. It's a little bit more of the, I need to know more than everybody else scene in the anime crowd. And it's whatever, I'm letting them have the pass. Just because they're willing to actually go and check out Showa Rider, and then they come back to me after checking out a few episodes, and they're like, bro, how did I sleep on this so long? And I'm like, easy. You didn't care about my opinion because you just thought it was fucking Power Rangers. Do you see what I just said right there? Because that's just a general perception for so much of this stuff back in the States. It's just fucking Power Rangers. Power Rangers holds a very special place in my heart, but there's only a few productions where I can look at them and very strongly be like, yo, they hit it just as hard as the Sentai did. The two in my mind where I'm like, I love these two a lot, and they don't necessarily quite hit the same highs as the Sentai series, but they came really damn close. I would say it's the Lost Galaxy through Time Force, Wild Force era. That chunk. Right there. And that was because at the time we had people like Sakamoto. We had people like Sakamoto pretty much hyper diligent and dedicated to it, and was helping teach people how it takes to get these things done. So, I hate to admit it, but my tripod thing that holds up my camera just gave up on me and died. It only has about an hour and a half worth of juice in it. So I'm going to try to hold this as best I can and shaky cam it. I'm going to knock through the chat, but we're going to wrap it up here. If you've sat through me this whole time so far, thank you so much. It really means a lot to me. And thank you again for supporting the 14 years of us on YouTube. I wish it was a less challenging time on YouTube, but it is what it is. I mean, I got to work for number one on YouTube. Not the old number one, the current number one. I'm not happy about that. We'll talk about that another day, because I'm trying to be more open and honest about it, because I feel like the more I talk about it to people, the easier it makes me feel. But let me go through the chat, scrolling up a little bit, and see what you guys have been saying. Tell you what, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat now. This is going to be your last chance, because we're going to be wrapping this up in about less than 9 minutes, okay? So if you have any other questions about anything I said, I'll try to do my best to answer them, but we're going to be wrapping it up here very, very quickly. I would rather take another King Oger approach compared to the AIMS Power Rangers. Like with the volume. Yeah, no, because that also takes thought and coordination. It's all the people that have to create the sets themselves, all the people that have to, like, design them in 3D and then make it to where it works in that 3D AI environment. Or not if AI environment. Jesus Christ, I'm all caught up. Please excuse that flub right there. What I meant to say is, it's all that effort it takes to get into these environments, these digital environments, digital workspace environments, like what they do over at Disney with the volume there. Again, King Oger has some things where I feel like it was a good dedication and a new step forward, and we also need to remember doing tokusatsu stuff in these costumes in the hot Japanese sun is brutal. And I feel like this was their way to be able to do a Sentai show where they can keep the actors as comfortable as possible, but also not sacrifice having cool places to be or visuals to be in. So, like, what's another example I would recommend? Like, anytime that they have the King Ogers in, like, a live-action scene, like out somewhere, like Iwafune, the costumes look so much better than they ever did on those stages. But again, it's something where I can forgive that a lot more because those digital sets, they need to be created too. And they need to be able to work with the cameras and moving in different directions and with the actors. It's in a way a lot better than a green screen ever will be. So yeah, I agree. I wish they did more King Oger stuff in the future. I just hope they can learn to refine it a little bit more. If they adapted King Oger, they would AI the backgrounds. I don't doubt that. The Next Decade is sassy today. No, my friend. See, it's not just today. I'm sassy all the time. Unless I'm depressed, and then I'm sassy against myself, and that's never fun. Coming for your crown, Megadon. Good luck. Keep fighting in the chat, boys. You'll never take away my Tokusatsu fan club membership. Obligatory swatch back. It's swatching time. I think we can safely say the new Power Rangers series filming in the UK will be more than likely be using AI. The future of Power Rangers. If this is the future of Power Rangers, it blows. And I agree, it does. But that's the beauty of all this, is that if it sucks and it continues to suck, eventually they'll just pack it up. Still in the camp, I wish they sold it. Armosaurus has probably had hella post-production. Funnily enough, Armosaurus, if I remember correctly, they Power Rangers it, where they had Korean actors initially, and then they put American actors or British actors or whoever's in there to fill in for the U.S. release of it, which hysterical, absolutely hysterical. But the other side of it is that if it's motion capture or if it's hand animated and they're actually doing all this stuff without having it just be the computer doing all the work, and there's no and there's human elements to it, I can forgive Armosaurus a lot more than this Ninja Kid situation. Oh, I see. So we're talking about Candace? Can these nuts fit in your mouth? Is that where we're getting at? Gotta love working with Tokusatsu people. It's or fans. I mean, it's something funny. I was talking with my old buddy Keith the other day. We both kind of said, like, high school never ends, but with Tokusatsu specifically, we finally meet like an equilibrium, and everyone's kind of chill. And then the younger kids come in, and they keep bringing in all the old stuff we thought we all defeated, and everyone's all annoyed. And then the old crowd leaves, and then the old crowd can't be getting along with each other. And it's what we call the Tokusatsu fan cycle, and it goes in loops. But there's another loop that you can break out of, but that loop is a lot harder to break, and that's when you go from being just the fan to either working on, advocating, or in the shadows doing stuff for Tokusatsu in general. That's no offense to anybody in here either. If you're young and you're still in this, you're learning, nobody's ever going to get... People will give you crap. But it's what you do when you come out of it at the end of it. And my best thing I could say is that if you love this stuff and you're passionate about it, please try to learn something from these stories and from these characters, because everyone's like, oh, these people aren't real, they don't exist. They came from a person that is real and does exist. And when you start to learn some of these people's names and what these projects are and their interviews outside of it, you start to see that, wow, this person, while not perfect themselves, in a way is an amalgamation of all these characters that they've made, and they have a better heart than you would expect. So, sometimes paying attention to the kids' show isn't a bad idea. There's a lot of things from Rider that I took on when I was 16, 17, first getting into it, and now here I am, 34, literally half my life later. And without some of those characters and those stories and those writers putting that effort into, I don't think I would be nearly as good of a person. And I mean that. I'm genuinely dead-ass serious when I say Tokusatsu made me a better person. And I mean it. I really do. There's also times it made me a worse person, but hey, that's growing. You gotta learn. Take your lumps. Tojima is peak and hype, for real. Agreed. I love Tojima very much. Tojima was wonderful. But yeah, if you guys don't know, Tom did stuff for Tokusatsu Network. Tom's cool. So, alright, let's get to these last couple things. Oh, hey, we had another super chat drop in from Megadong. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Dusty, what do you think about Omega, Ultraman Omega? I haven't watched it yet. Sorry. I promise I will go after this chat and go sit with Katie and we'll get the first few episodes in just to see what the big hullabaloo is, because I've seen there are people that are really enjoying it. It seems to be another one of those Ultramans that are is Ultra, but is learning to be a person too. And I like it when they do that kind of stuff. I think it's fun. So I'll give it a more serious chance, but I'll also say the last time I really paid attention to Ultraman was Ultraman Z. And Z is still my favorite. Of the modern guys, I love Z. If you need perspective on my 3 favorite Ultras from the eras, 7 from Showa, 0 from Heisei, and Z from Reiwa. Those are my 3 guys. I really like them a lot. And they're all connected. Crazy how that works out, huh? Rumors for the next Super Sentai series. I can't say anything, because I know things. All I could say is I hope you guys like sticks and cards and making a wish. That's all I will say, because that's enough to get me in trouble. Okay, going back a little bit. I remember Sakamoto saying that Time Force was his favorite because of the original differences. Yes, there's a little bit of differences between the two, but in a way, Time Force was also kind of like, how do we make Time Ranger work a little bit better over here? So even fans here argue, wow, Time Force is really good, but it's hard to compare it to Time Ranger. So Time Force is one of those eras where I really feel like we nailed it, we were getting it, and then right around the time the Disney stuff happened, it started to fall back into its old bullshit, essentially. And it's a bummer, too, because, like, Sakamoto's one of those guys where I wish they just made him the dude for it out here. I think him being the driving force behind it would have just been the most intelligent thing they could have done. He's a really, really smart guy. Not a question, but it was good to catch the stream, my man. Looking forward to catching and chatting some more in person over there. Yes, let me know if you are out here. If you're out here, I'm down to hang out. Assuming I don't have one of my doctor's visits or another meeting or something going on. Alright, let's see here. Any other questions? How is Toku doing domestically in Japan despite the decline in childbirth? I feel they're making up for this loss in collector's market, and that's why you get new CSMs every month. Ooh, good eye, good attention. Okay, so first off, nobody's really talking about it, but it's because of the sensationalization behind it, but the childbirth rate is actually smallly improving this year, so we think this is the year that's going to start to uptick again. The kids are popping up. They're finally popping back up again, but I think also the financial situation over here is going to be dipping it back down again, so yeah. They are doing different things to combat this, and the number one thing they're doing is you're seeing Sentai and Rider both kind of doing this, and I think I touched on it earlier, where they do more of a lighthearted series, some experimental stuff, more normal kind of thing, and then a tentpole series. It's a 3 to 7 year long stretch of shows, and I think the goal is to keep kids in between the ages of 5 to 17 now watching it. It used to be they wanted only 5 to 12, but now we're getting some older kids watching it, and we still have some adults that are still pretty passionate about it too. And I think this is why they've chosen to focus more on it being closer to a family show than strictly just a kids show. The toys, they're all getting a little bit cheaper. They're all using things that have already been made before and just putting new shells on it. And then yeah, the CSMs, it's a great way to pull a second wave of money out of it. So they're making it work. But I'll admit that in doing that and making it work, you are going to start to see changes in how these shows are approached and handled. And we may even see more shows made more directly aimed at younger kids soon. Like the great example of this is going from like B-Fighter Kabuto to Kabutak, where oh god, that was a tough time for Metal Hero, and kind of killed it for a while there too. I wish Metal Hero would come back. There's some stuff that writer does that I feel like should pretty much just be for Metal Hero, and I also feel like Metal Hero can come back and be like the teenager show at this point. But who knows? I'm not in any of those camps to make those kind of decisions, but the way I would say it is that it's hanging in there. Definitely hanging in there is the best way to put it. So, that's about it. We've been running for about 2 hours now. I have had a wonderful time hanging out with all of you guys. This is your last chance to say something because we're going to be hanging up the thing here soon. So, here, I'll just sit over here while I say this. Today, October 19th, 2025, is the 14th anniversary of this channel. I've been doing YouTube stuff on and on for those 14 years. I've never been like an overly consistent, like need to crank out content all the time kind of person. I've mostly been using it just to, promote my work and share whatever weird, silly projects I have going on in the moment. But I guess what I'm trying to say here is, I don't like what's happened to digital online content creation. Personally, I've always wanted to work on like TV and movies and those kind of things because that's like, I'm not saying that YouTube's always had like a lesser quality, but YouTube and Twitch and a lot of these social media platforms now feel like they're just places to take advantage of you when you do start to get into it and do work on it. And that's kind of what happened with me when I started doing the 3D printing stuff. Started getting a lot more attention and brand deals and things like that. And all that stuff, while helpful to me, bothered the hell out of me. I didn't really like it. There's going to be times where I do it because I believe in the product or the things that we're doing. But more often than not, all I'm seeing is a platform like YouTube or Twitch or these places like I'm saying, where they have these large amount of creators, where they make crazy amount of advertiser money, and the person that's doing the work, busting ass doing the work, is pretty consistently getting their ass handed to them until they've done, million plus subscribers and all these other things going on, and then they can, slow down a little bit and work on their own and then make their own brand deals. And then working with Mr. Beast the one time that we did, it really disenfranchised me and disillusioned me what any of this kind of stuff online is with YouTube. So, if you are passionate about creating, don't ever feel pressured to constantly churn and crank crap out. Don't feel bad if you think your stuff is terrible. I don't like a lot of the stuff I put out there. Most of the time I put it out there because I want to share something, make something, contribute back, excite the other people around, and maybe even get people who would never look at these things to just try it and look at it. So, with that all being said, and never ever really hitting the any big numbers here, I've always worked with people that make bigger numbers than me, but that's fine. They've always put in the grind to it. But I don't think anybody should have to necessarily grind in order to create. And so I guess what my message is at the end of this 14-year celebration stream is, what are you creating on these platforms for? That's what I want to leave you with, is that question. What are you creating on these platforms for? Because if there's something bigger you want to be making, for so long people are like, oh, you gotta do YouTube, oh, you gotta do all this, oh, yeah. You don't have to. What I'm trying to express is, if you have something you're passionate about and you're good at, and you want to keep working on it, keep sharing it, spread it across all these different places. Don't make these places your revenue sources. Don't make that your goal. You're going to be miserable. Okay? That's the best thing I can tell you, because I've seen it from, friends in the 100,000 subscriber range, and the tens of thousands subscriber range, and how big of assholes people become when they get into the millions of subscriber ranges. It's not everyone, but it happens more than often than you would think. And I guess my next thing I'd like to say with that is, find your thing and stay in your lane. And if you aren't doing things to uplift other people with you, then it's not the right thing to do. I had to learn that the hard way many times over the years, but it's become my personal philosophy when it comes to working on anything bigger or any of that, to bring in the people around me and lift them up. I'm not a bootstraps person at all. fuck bootstraps. But I am the guy where if I'm getting pulled up for something and I see your collar and I can grab it and yank you up with me, I will. Try to be one of those people too. Even if it's not for content creation, but like the people around you, your friends, in work situations and stuff like that. Like work with each other, stand up for each other, and you know, you, yes, you viewer, are not a Super Sentai Senshi or a Power Ranger or a Kamen Rider, but you can try to take some of the stuff you learn from them and try to be a different kind of hero in your own world. I say try doing that. Okay? Cool. Alright. I hope you guys are well. I can't wait to see you again next time. Maybe we could try this again next week if things go well. I'm really ashamed about what happened with this Ninja Kids Power Rangers thing, so the last serious message is go to Instagram or over to X, Twitter, or wherever else you can find Toku J's work specifically. Give him a like. Repost his stuff through the reposting methods that are there, whether it be a repost, retweet, whatever. And put down in the comments, hey man, AI will never, never, never compare to your art. I think it would mean a lot to him, because through him doing this and this happening to him, people are going to associate his stuff as just AI art when it's not. This is my way of saying, hey, go stand up for another one of us in the community that really deserves it. All right. You guys are all amazing. Thank you all so much for coming in and viewing this and hanging out with me for the 2 hours that we've been doing it. I missed you guys, and I will try to be back again sometime soon. You take care. I'll catch you next time.